You already know what to do. You just don't trust it yet. And while you're waiting for more certainty, more data, and more signs, life is making the decision for you. Welcome to Daily Power Boost. I'm Sean Michael. This isn't a podcast about pushing harder or fixing yourself. It's a space to see clearly how your experience is actually being created. Each episode offers a simple shift in understanding, not a tactic, not a hustle, a clearer view of thought, identity, and the patterns you've been living inside. Because when misunderstanding drops, relief rises, energy returns. You move forward with calm, sovereign clarity. This is your Daily Power Boost. Welcome back to Daily Power Boost. Here's what overthinking sounds like. Let me just research it a little more. I need to think about this from every single angle. What if I make the wrong call? So you wait, analyze, build a spreadsheet nobody asked for. Meanwhile, your window narrows, opportunity shifts. The cost of not deciding becomes the decision itself. Here's what most people believe about clarity. It comes before the move. If you think long enough, hard enough, carefully enough, it will arrive, clean, certain, obvious. But that's not how clarity works. We've been talking about how thought shapes experience. Urgency isn't in the deadline, it's in your thought about the deadline. Procrastination isn't about the task, it's about the thought attached to the task. Overthinking works the same way. When you spiral into analysis paralysis, you're not actually looking for more information. You're trying to think your way out of discomfort. The discomfort of being wrong, and underneath, the terror of being judged or not being able to take it back. Your mind is trying to protect you. It generates more questions, more scenarios, each one slightly worse than the last. Not because you need them, but because as long as you're still thinking, you're still safe. There's the problem. Safety and growth, they don't live in the same room. I know someone who had a decision in front of them for 6 months. It wasn't a small one. It was very real. The kind that actually changes things. They made the lists, looked at both sides, explored every angle. Then they called 3 friends, 2 mentors, read everything they could about the topic. Still couldn't decide. One day, someone asked a simple question. What would you do if you weren't afraid of getting it wrong? Without hesitating, they answered. Just like that, 6 months of circling, 1 question, instant clarity. The answer was never missing. It was just buried under one thought. What if I can't come back from this? That thought created fog, and one honest question cut right through it. Here's how analysis paralysis actually works. Your mind identifies a decision with real stakes. Then it attaches a thought. If I get this wrong, something bad will happen. The thought creates anxiety. And to manage the anxiety, your mind generates more thinking. More thinking feels productive, looks like diligence, like you're being responsible. But most of the time, it's just fear. And the more you think, the more real the fear becomes. Until that decision feels like defusing a bomb instead of simply choosing a direction. Here's the reframe. Clarity is not a prerequisite for movement. It's a product of movement. You don't think your way to clarity, you act your way to clarity. Every decision you've ever felt good about, at some point, it required a leap. Not some kind of certainty, a leap. What felt like clarity in hindsight? It's just the view from the other side. Person you're becoming doesn't wait for perfect information. They trust the read, move, and adjust. With that in mind, here's your practice this week. Think of one decision you've been circling. Write it down. Now ask yourself the question, the same one that cut through 6 months of fog. What would I do if I knew I couldn't get it permanently wrong? Write down the first answer that comes to mind. No editing, no qualifying it, just write it. Then ask a follow-up question. What's the smallest move I can make in that direction today? You don't need the whole plan, just a single honest move. Clarity follows action, not the other way around. If you're sitting on a decision that keeps circling back, feels too big to get wrong, too costly to keep avoiding, book your no-cost clarity call. I'll help you find the thought that's creating the fog and get you moving. You'll find a link in the show notes. Overthinking is not a sign of intelligence. It's a sign that a thought has convinced you the cost of being wrong is something you can't ever come back from. When you see that thought for what it is, the fog lifts. Not because the decision became easier, but because you stopped needing it to be perfect before you begin. Clarity doesn't come before the move. It comes because of it. This was the clarity practice, how to make decisions without overthinking. Next time, the comparison trap, why measuring yourself against others is costing you the one thing that actually matters. With strength and heart, I'm Sean Michael. Stay close. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Power Boost. Ignite your potential. Remember, transformation starts with action. So take today's insight, make it your own, and awaken your inner potential. Because remember, greatness begins within. Catch you tomorrow for your next Power Boost.